Have you ever remembered someone you love not by seeing their face but by hearing a familiar sound, smelling a familiar fragrance, or looking at the sky? This is exactly what makes Rabindranath Tagore's poem I Cannot Remember My Mother so touching. Rabindranath Tagore was one of India's greatest poets, writers, philosophers, and thinkers. He was born in 1861 and died in 1941. He is popularly known as Gurudev. He won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913 for his collection Gitanjali. His writings beautifully combine human emotions, nature, spirituality, and Indian cultural values. The poem I Cannot Remember My Mother presents a deeply personal and emotional experience of a child remembering his mother. The poem begins with a very simple but painful statement. The speaker says that he cannot remember his mother. The child does not remember his mother's face or her exact appearance. However, although he cannot remember her directly, different experiences bring her memory back to him. In the first part of the poem, the child is playing with his toys. Suddenly, a tune seems to hover over his playthings. This tune reminds him of a song that his mother used to hum while rocking his cradle. So the child does not remember his mother through her face. Instead, he remembers her through the sound of her loving voice. This is an example of an auditory memory because the memory is connected with the sense of hearing. The mother's lullaby represents her love, care, and affection. Even though the child cannot clearly remember her, the emotional effect of her love remains alive in his heart. Then the poem moves from sound to smell. The poet says that during an early autumn morning, the fragrance of Suili flowers floats in the air. The smell of these flowers reminds him of his mother. The Suili is a small fragrant flower associated with autumn. Its fragrance brings back the emotional presence of the mother. The child also connects this fragrance with the scent of the morning service in the temple. For him, the fragrance of the flowers and the temple atmosphere become connected with the memory of his mother. This is an example of olfactory memory, which means memory connected with the sense of smell. Notice something beautiful here. The mother is physically absent, but she is emotionally present everywhere. Finally, the poet looks through his bedroom window towards the west blue sky. He feels that the calm and loving gaze of his mother has spread across the entire sky. This is the most spiritual part of the poem. The child cannot see his mother, but he feels that she is still watching over him. The blue sky becomes a symbol of the mother's endless love and protective presence. Thus, the poem moves through their important senses. Thus, the poem moves through three important senses. First, hearing the tune of the mother's song. Second, smell the fragrance of Sivili flowers and the morning temple service. Third, sight the west blue sky and the imagined gaze of the mother. These sensory experiences help the child reconnect with a mother whom he cannot physically remember. The central idea of the poem is that true love does not disappear with physical separation. A person may be absent from our eyes, but their memories, love, and emotional presence can remain forever in our hearts. The poem also shows the power of childhood moment. The poem also shows the power of childhood memories. Sometimes a small sound, a familiar smell, or a particular sight can suddenly bring back the memory of someone very special. The major theme is the unconditional love between a mother and her child. Another important theme is memory. The poem shows that memories are not always connected with photographs or clear images. They can live through our senses and emotions. The poem also deals with loss and separation. The child has lost the physical presence of his mother, but he continues to feel her presence around him. Nature is another important theme. The tune, flowers, autumn, morning, and blue sky all become carriers of the mother's memory. The poem has very few characters because it is mainly a personal reflection. The central figure is the child or speaker who remembers his mother through different sensory experiences. The mother is physically absent, but she is the emotional center of the poem. She appears through her lullaby, the fragrance associated with her, and the loving gaze that the child imagines across the sky. The poem used several beautiful literary devices. Reception is one of the most noticeable devices. The expression, I cannot remember my mother, is repeated. This repetition emphasizes the child's inability to remember her physically, while simultaneously highlighting remembers how deeply he remembers her emotionally. Personification is also used when the tune seems to, however, over the playthings. A tune is given an almost living quality. Imagery is extremely important in the poem. The poet creates images of toys, a cradle, Siuli flowers, an autumn morning, a temple, and the vast blue sky. These images help readers experience the child's memories. Symbolism is also present. The Siuli flowers symbolize the mother's remembered presence, while the blue sky symbolizes her vast, peaceful, and protective presence. The poem also uses sensory imagery. Hearing is connected with the mother's song, smell with the Siuli flowers and temple service, and sight with the blue sky. The language is simple, but the emotions are deep. The poem does not need complicated words to express a powerful feeling. Tagore's purpose is not simply to tell us that a child misses his mother. His deeper purpose is to show how love survives beyond physical presence. He wants us to understand that our emotional memories can keep our loved ones alive within us. The poem also teaches us to value the small experiences of life. A song, a flower, a fragrance, or the sight of the sky may carry memories that are more powerful than words. So, the final message of the poem is very beautiful. We may forget a face, but we may never forget the love connected with that face. I cannot remember my mother is therefore a poem about love, memory, loss, nature, and the everlasting emotional bond between a mother and her child. If you found this explanation useful, like, follow, comment, and share this video with your friends and classmates. For more class 9th English Kaveri explanations, grammar lessons, and literature content, follow online English tuition. Thank you. Have a nice day.